There we go.
How's
Got
it
it.
going, everyone?
Hey, welcome to the Straight Podcast. In today's episode, as you see in the thumbnail, Donald Trump went ballistic yesterday. I would say today, I mean, this morning it's like 8 hours, 10 hours past already. Time difference. But anyway, nevertheless, today's episode is going to be an epic one. Donald Trump, as always, delivering, speaking from the heart. Even though we had so many setback at the beginning of it, he ended up pulling up like a champ all the time, all the time.
Yeah, all the time. Yep.
He never disappoints though,
Mhm.
even though
No,
never
he does
disappoints.
not. He does not
So let's
disappoint.
play. We're gonna react to the entire video of Donald Trump talking on the UN, which it didn't go as expected. Donald Trump, as usual, just speaking from the heart, speaking the truth. And remember, I mean, he not a typical politician, just a guy.
Remember, in the beginning, he what did he say? He said, "Whoever wrote the prompt teleprompter is gonna be in trouble." So, you guys. With that being said, I think that's how he started it. I'm not sure though. We'll
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
we'll
yes, it
see it.
did. Yes, it did.
Uh,
So let's start today episode. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Already, we had the chat activated already. We got people. We got Nestor Fabulous from Dallas, Texas. Appreciate it, Nestor. We are, he calling his people to join in. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let's get started, man. Let's play that little first clip of Donald Trump walking to the UN to perform, to do his speech, and let's see how he's walking in. He's walking in like a boss. Look at him.
yeah, look at that.
Let's react to this.
Look at this boss right here.
OD. OD. I like that. I like his demeanor though.
Thank you
Yep.
very much. Very much appreciated. And I don't mind making this speech without a teleprompter
Oh,
because
okay.
the teleprompter is not working.
Oh, that's what he meant by that.
I
Okay.
feel very happy to be up here with you, nevertheless. And that way you speak more from the heart. I can only say that whoever's operating this teleprompter is in big trouble.
Because he knows he's about to slip the T. I mean, drop the facts. Here we
Oh
go.
yeah, he will.
Hello, Madam First Lady. Thank you very much for being here. And Madam President, Mr. Secretary General, First Lady of the United States, distinguished delegates, ambassadors, and world leaders. 6 years have passed since I last stood in this grand hall and addressed a world that was prosperous and at peace in my first term. Since that day, the guns of war have shattered the peace I forged on two continents. An era of calm and stability gave way to one of the great crises of our time. And here in the United States, 4 years of weakness, lawlessness, and radicalism under the last administration delivered our nation into a repeated set of disasters. 1 year ago, our country was in deep trouble, but today, just 8 months into my administration, we are the hottest country anywhere in the world, and there is no other country even close. America is blessed with the strongest economy, the strongest borders, the strongest military, the strongest friendships, and the strongest spirit of any nation on the face of the earth. This is indeed the golden age of America. We are rapidly reversing the economic calamity we inherited from the previous administration, including ruinous price increases and record-setting inflation like we've never had before. Under my leadership, energy costs are down, gasoline prices are down, grocery prices are down, mortgage rates are down, and inflation has been defeated. The only thing that's up is the stock market, which just hit a record high. In fact, it hit a record high 48 times in the last short period of time. Growth is surging, manufacturing is booming. The stock market, as I said, is doing better than it's ever done. And all of you in this room benefit by that, almost everybody. And importantly, workers' wages are rising at the fastest pace in more than 60 years. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? In 4 years of President Biden, we had less than $1 trillion of new investment into the United States. In just 8 months since I took office, we have secured commitments and money already paid for $17 trillion. Think of it, 4 years, less than $1 trillion, 8 months, much more than $17 trillion is being invested in the United States. And it's now pouring in from all parts of the world.
So far we're seeing that what he's talking about is just all the achievements that we've done, or that he's done, really, more or less. And well, so far, what do you think? Is he lying on anything in your opinion, Julio? Because I don't think so. What do you think? Well, it looks like you've been frozen, but I will say that so far, he's just spilling facts. So let's continue. Here we go.
We've implemented the largest tax cuts in American history and the largest regulation cuts in American history, making this once and again the best country on earth to do business. And many of the people in this room are investing in America, and it's turned out to be an awfully good investment during this 8-month period. In my first term, I built the greatest economy in the history of the world. We had the best economy ever, history of the world. And I'm doing the same thing again, but this time it's actually much bigger and even better. The numbers far surpass my record-setting first term. On our southern border, we have successfully repelled a colossal invasion, and for the last 4 months, and that's 4 months in a row, the number of illegal aliens admitted and entering our country has been zero. Hard to believe, because if you look back just a year ago, it was millions and millions of people pouring in from all over the world, from prisons, from mental institutions, drug dealers. All over the world they came. They just poured into our country with the ridiculous open border policy of the Biden administration. Our message is very simple. If you come illegally into the United States, you're going to jail, or you're going back to where you came from, or perhaps even further than that. You know what that means. I want to thank the country of El Salvador for the successful and professional job they've done in receiving and jailing so many criminals that entered our country. And it was under the previous administration that the number became record-setting, and they're all being taken out. You have no choice. And other countries have no choice, because other countries are in the exact same situation with immigration. It's destroying your country, and you have to do something about it. On the world stage, America is respected again like it has never been respected before. You think about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, or 1 year ago, we were a laughingstock all over the world. At the NATO summit in June, virtually all NATO members formally committed to increase defense spending, at my request, from 2% to 5% of GDP, making our alliance far stronger and more powerful. The years of President Biden, we had less economy in the history of the world. We had the best economy in our country.
All right, guys. So he's
I'm back.
basically just giving the facts. So, well, welcome back, Julio. I just
Thank you.
paused it. Basically, he's just giving the facts of what he's accomplished and the rules of which I've heard the little background. Some of the people didn't like the fact that he's saying that he's holding criminals accountable, and I don't know why there was like a noise in the background, like they were not happy about that, which is disgusting, right? So, but what do you think so far? Has Trump been saying anything that you think Nestor says welcome Julio to the chat, and he's laughing.
Yeah, I got
But anyways,
disconnected. But yeah, I mean, I mean, the in the last couple of years, we had a mass imports of immigrants, not only in the U.S., but we have them all over the world. I mean, you see in Europe, you see Spain, you see France, Germany, all over the place. Even the U.S., we have a mass influx of immigrants. What Trump is alluding is, along with those immigrants, we have criminals going to our cities, criminals that are not vetted, obviously. So what are they going to do? They're going to do the same thing they were doing in the home country. So that's the problem that we are seeing now in the US and abroad. Now, Donald Trump is calling it like it is. He's calling a spade to spade. And people don't like it because the left thrive on crisis,
And
chaos, and they don't like to prosecute. They love criminals because they're using criminals as a leverage of fear to sell their people, hey, we're gonna fix it, but they will never going to fix it because that's their tool. So that's why they love immigrants, especially criminals.
yeah, and something that here Nestor kind of uh, posted. He says Europe has a problem, a serious problem. Immigration. It's changing the culture in Europe, and so and he's saying that in Facebook in Spanish, but I'm translating it. But that is true. What you're touching, basically, the same thing. Where he said en las redes que todo el mundo gritaba que China, Spain. Yeah, the 200 Chinese spies and more than 100 Iranians. And that's, again, this is why being against illegal immigration is not the same as being against legal immigration. And right now America has a lot of problem with illegal immigration, and we can see Europe, how they left the doors open. You
Mm-hmm.
can see the example what's going on over there. And the problem with this, Julio, is that we are not getting the full news media. If it wasn't for X and Australia that's reporting this, because Australia is reporting what's really going on, but American news media will not report what's really going on in Europe.
That's
So
true.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
continue with this. Um, Here we go.
And it was under the previous administration that the number became record setting, and they're all being taken out. We have no choice. And other countries have no choice because other countries are in the exact same situation with immigration. It's destroying your country, and you have to do something about it. On the world stage, America is respected again like it has never been respected before. You think about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, or 1 year ago, we were a laughingstock all over the world. At the NATO summit in June, virtually all NATO members formally committed to increase defense spending at my request from 2% to 5% of GDP, making our alliance far stronger and more powerful than it was ever before. In May, I traveled to the Middle East to visit my friends and rebuild our partnerships in the Gulf and those valued relationships with Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE and other countries are now, I believe, closer than ever before. My administration has negotiated one historic trade deal after another, including with the United Kingdom, the European Union, Japan, South Korea, Vietnam, Indonesia, the Philippines, Malaysia, and many, many others. Likewise, in a period of just 7 months, I have ended 7 unendable wars. They said they were unendable. You're never going to get them solved. Some were going for 31 years, 2 of them, 31, think of it, 31 years. One was 36 years. One was 28 years. I ended 7 wars. And in all cases, they were raging with countless thousands of people being killed. This includes Cambodia and Thailand, Kosovo and Serbia, the Congo and Rwanda, a vicious, violent war that was, Pakistan and India, Israel and Iran, Egypt and Ethiopia, and Armenia and Azerbaijan. It included all of them. No president or prime minister, and for that matter, no other country has ever done anything close to that. And I did it in just 7 months. It's never happened before. There's never been anything like that. I'm very honored to have done it. It's too bad that I had to do
Nestor made a good point. He's saying that not even France or Canada wants to do anything for Haiti. They feel like they don't have responsibilities. The Republic, the Dominican Republic, needs to close their borders, and he's talking about because in Dominican Republic, there's right now a big amount of
Haitian.
illegal immigrants from Haiti, and you know, it's just it's just crazy. The thing is, a lot of these people are doing foul play, and it's just really the culture, Julio, that is what the issue is here. Like, if you're gonna come to another country and assimilate and become part of that country's culture, I don't think there's an issue with anybody. But when you want to bring the culture that you're running away from, and you're
Mm,
make us, you know, participate in that culture, I think that's where the issue is, or where we
yeah.
have to accept your culture. Yeah, that's the issue.
Yeah, that don't sit well with a lot of people though. A lot of people are feeling the same way you feel. Like people like, and we seeing it here. I mean, you're seeing it all over the place, especially in Houston. You see it in Dallas. You see it in Minnesota. You see it in Michigan. There is a mass immigration from Arab countries or Muslim countries. They're coming over here and they're trying to implement the rules, the laws, the tradition, and people is not having it. People are not having it, and that is a big clash of uh, cultural shock between the civilization, and that's bad because now they are these people that coming overseas. They feel empowered to just overtake and the cities or overtake the uh, the state, and that is wrong. And a lot of people is going to flee in those places. It will become a I would not use I would like not to use the wrong terminology for this, but those places we ended up being 100% uh, ethnicity, like in one ethnicity, for example, Muslim ethnicity or religion based ethnicity, and it will be just one state. Imagine that, one whole state. And that's what happened. They are propagating from within. They go to city council, mayor, representative. They slowly taking over from the beginning. And what they're going to do is they're going to propagate, and before you know it, they already took over the entire city or the entire state.
Yeah,
And that's when people gonna open their eyes and they will be like, what are we going to do? Are we going to stay or are we going to leave? And that will be a big wake up call for a lot of people though.
yeah, no, for sure, for sure. Um, Shout out to Antigo. I think that's who it is.
Yeah.
Hello, welcome. And we're just going over Donald Trump's UN speech and how he's being a savage. But coming back to that, but you know what, Julio? Back to the immigration real quick. What you were saying, we don't even have to go that far, bro. I mean, I don't. Were you here when Katrina hit Louisiana?
Yes, I remember that. It was bad. Yeah.
Same American people that came from Katrina, and the Houstonians were like, "Yeah, go ahead, for temporary, come on in." And then the Louisiana has a different culture than the people from Texas. For all those of you that don't know, I
Mm.
mean, so we were not happy with the Katrinians here. I mean, I remember we were complaining like, "Oh, they're doing this," and it was like a big deal. I mean, so just remind us about that, and that's within the same country. Now imagine accepting people from other country. You know what I mean? So like, if we can't even accept ourselves from a different state, just like right now, people coming from California. How do you feel about that, Julio? You know what I mean? You want
Mhm.
all these people coming from California? I sure don't, I mean, and if you do, I hope
They
you
better stimulate.
yeah, so it's the same thing. So this is nothing new for people, and I'm saying this for the people that are like, "Oh, we want to accept everybody," which I think for most of us, we accept everyone so long as they assimilate to our country. That's all I'm saying. But
Yeah.
let's see what Donald Trump keeps, what he says.
These things instead of the United Nations doing them. And sadly, in all cases, the United Nations did not even try to help in any of them. I ended 7 wars, dealt with the leaders of each and every one of these countries, and never even received a phone call from the United Nations offering to help in finalizing
Straight up,
the
Nestor.
deal. All I got from the United Nations was an escalator that on the way up stopped right in the middle. If the First Lady wasn't in great shape, she would have fallen. But she's in great shape. We're both in good shape. We both stood. And then a teleprompter that didn't work. These are the 2 things I got from the United Nations, a bad escalator and a bad teleprompter. Thank you very much. And by the way, it's working now. It just went on. Thank you. I think I should just do it the other way. It's easier. Thank you very much. I didn't think of it at the time because I was too busy working to save millions of lives. That is the saving and stopping of these wars. But later I realized that the United Nations wasn't there for us. They weren't there. I thought of it really after the fact, not during these negotiations, which were not easy. That being the case.
Hold on, I gotta stop it there, Julio. Oh man, dude, he just straight up said to their face, "You guys weren't there to help us." That's what he said in their face.
Donald Trump is being known for that. I mean, he just dropped the beans. He don't care. He just dropping dimes. And Donald Trump is in all reality, he speak his mind, what he feels. And he got that, he got the power and he got the I don't give a F money. So he cares less
But is he
what the
wrong?
UN has to say.
But is he wrong?
No, he's not.
That's the question. I mean, we can say, was he polite about it? I think so. It's kind of like saying, with all due respect, you're a dumbass, with all due respect, it's kind of like that, I mean,
He's been assertive. He's been assertive.
Yeah, he's just he's not wrong.
No,
I
he's
mean, where
not.
were they?
He's not.
In the
He's not.
negotiations, where were they at? This was the whole reason to have the UN. But here we go. Papa Trump has to go there and bail out the UN. So, in the words of Jesse, with the guy that says amazing, he called Donald Trump the Great White Hope. So let's hear what the Great White Hope wants to keep saying. Here we go.
What is the purpose of the United Nations? The UN has such tremendous potential. I've always said it. It has such tremendous, tremendous potential, but it's not even coming close to living up to that potential. For the most part, at least for now, all they seem to do is write a really strongly worded letter and then never follow that letter up. It's empty words.
Wow.
And empty words don't solve war. The only thing that solves war and wars is action. Now, after ending all of these wars and also earlier negotiating the Abraham Accords, which is a very big thing for which our country received no credit, never receives credit. Everyone says that I should get the Nobel Peace Prize for each one of these achievements. But for me, the real prize will be the sons and daughters who live to grow up with the mothers and fathers, because millions of people are no longer being killed in endless and unglorious wars. What I care about is not winning prizes, it's saving lives. We saved millions and millions of lives with the 7 wars. And we have others that we're working on, and you know that. Many years ago, a very successful real estate developer in New York, known as Donald J. Trump, I bid on the renovation and rebuilding of this very United Nations complex. I remember it so well. I said at the time that I would do it for $500 million, rebuilding everything. It would be beautiful. I used to talk about, I'm going to give you marble floors. They're going to give you terrazzo. I'm going to give you the best of everything. You're going to have mahogany walls. They're going to give you plastic. But they decided to go in another direction, which was much more expensive at the time, and which actually produced a far inferior product. And I realized that they did not know what they were doing when it came to construction, and that their building concepts were so wrong, and the product that they were proposing to build was so bad and so costly. It was going to cost them a fortune. And I said, and wait till you see the overruns. Well, I turned out to be right. They had massive cost overruns and spent between $2 and $4 billion on the building and did not even get the marble floors that I promised them. You walk on terraza. Do you notice that? As far as I'm concerned,
Dude, all I
frankly,
gotta say
Donald
is
man. Donald Trump
ah,
is
pow, pow, puro,
oh
in
my
Spanish,
god.
in Mexico, in Mexican Spanish, es una pura paliza, boom,
A
which means
vergazo le
it
cayó
just,
encima.
yeah, just
Oh my
smacking
god,
them, bro,
Donald Trump.
smacking them with flat facts, dude. And you know what's crazy? What's crazy is that just okay, tin hat foil again, real quick on just because I'm old enough to remember when Donald Trump went in 2025 and he got Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency, right? Um, dude, I bet they did that money to the building, and they didn't give it to Trump because Trump was probably not gonna play ball with washing money laundering, because
Oh yeah.
honestly, a lot of you know uh, shenanigans, let's just say
Mhm.
shenanigans were going on, and I know for a fact, like Jerome Powell, when he's the building that they're reconstructing, that's, trust me, there's washing money there. I'm in construction. I'm just letting you know. There's always some money washing through there, but something with the government, I'm sure there's some money just being spent
Yeah.
irresponsibly on purpose.
I know.
So,
And like he said it, like from 500 millions to 2.2, 2.3 billions, that's like
yeah,
four times. That's like 450% more costly with less quality materials. And Donald Trump told them in their faces, "You guys are stupid. Oh, you guys are dumb as a rock." So Donald Trump is calling it like it is, man. That's why he's the best ever. The GOAT, the 45-47.
and he's just like, facts.
I know.
You know what I mean? Dude, let's continue. Great
You will
White
not
Hope.
get invited anymore. You will not get in.
Amazing.
Amazing. Let's go.
looking at the building and getting stuck on the escalator. They still haven't finished the job. They still haven't finished. That was years ago. The project was so corrupt that Congress actually asked me to testify before them on the tremendous waste of money, because it turned out that they had no idea what it was, but they knew it was anywhere between $2 and $4 billion as opposed to $500 million with a guarantee. But they had no idea, and I said it cost much more than $5 billion. Unfortunately, many things in the United Nations are happening just like that, but on an even much bigger scale, much, much bigger. Very sad to see. Whether the UN can manage to play a productive role, I've come here today to offer the hand of American leadership and friendship to any nation in this assembly that is willing to join us in forging a safer, more prosperous world. And it's a world that we'll be much happier with. A dramatically better future is within our reach. But to get there, we must reject the failed approaches of the past and work together to confront some of the greatest threats in history. There is no more serious danger to our planet today than the most powerful and destructive weapons ever devised by man, of which the United States, as you know, has many. Just as I did in my first term, I've made containing these threats a top priority, starting with the nation of Iran. My position is very simple. The world's #1 sponsor of terror can never be allowed to possess the most dangerous weapon. That's why, shortly after taking office, I sent the so-called Supreme Leader a letter making a generous offer. I extended a pledge of full cooperation in exchange for a suspension of Iran's nuclear program. The regime's answer was to continue their constant threats to their neighbors and U.S. interests throughout the region and some great countries that are right nearby. Today, many of Iran's former military commanders, in fact, I can say almost all of them, are no longer with us. They're dead. And 3 months ago, in Operation Midnight Hammer, 7 American B-2 bombers dropped the 14 30,000-pound each bombs on Iran's key nuclear facilities, totally obliterating everything. No other country on earth could have done what we did. No other country has the equipment to do what we did. We have the greatest weapons on earth. We hate to use them. But we did something that for 22 years people wanted to do. With Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity demolished, I immediately brokered an end to the 12-day war, as it's called, between Israel and Iran, with both sides agreeing to fight no longer. As everyone knows, I have also been deeply engaged in seeking a ceasefire in Gaza. Have to get that done. Have to get it done. Unfortunately, Hamas has repeatedly rejected reasonable offers to make peace. We can't forget October 7th, can we? Now, as if to encourage continued conflict, some of this body is seeking to unilaterally recognize a Palestinian state. The rewards would be too great for Hamas terrorists for their atrocities. This would be a reward for these horrible atrocities, including October 7th, even while they refuse to release the hostages or accept a ceasefire. Instead of giving to Hamas and giving so much, because they've taken so much, they have taken so much. This could have been solved so long ago. But instead of giving in to Hamas's ransom demands, those who want peace should be united with one message: release the hostages now. Just release the hostages now.
Which, Julio, the thing is, yes, release the hostages, but um, for them to recognize, like, what's wrong with recognizing Israel and Palestine? Because Palestine is the Gaza, right? Supposedly, Israel gave them Gaza, right? Am I missing something, or am I wrong on that, or because if I think we are talking about Hamas is the one that has the hostages,
Mm-hmm.
though Hamas should be the one to release it,
Yeah.
not has nothing to do with Palestine. And the fact that we are, and this is where I'm thinking like this Israel guy is clapping, but you know, I think that's the lie right there, because or at least the disingenuous from Israel, because supposedly Israel's like, well, we're not denying that Palestinians are, need their own territory. No, it's Hamas, right? That's what they've been saying. Well, what's wrong with them saying, hey, well, Palestinian, we recognize Palestine as a country? I don't see what's wrong with that. Just like I don't see what's wrong with what, Israel should be recognized as a country. Palestine should be recognized as a country. And even though Palestine wants Israel, well, tough luck. It's not yours no more. Okay? The Gaza is. And Israel should leave the Palestinians alone. Now, the Hamas attacks, okay, we need to, you know, what's wrong with sending American troops to guard Palestine? You know what I mean? And just
Yeah.
keep Israel at bay and keep Hamas from going to it to Palestine.
Yeah.
And
I'm agree. They should do a like parallel 38, like South Korea. The UN should go there, divide it, do like a half a mile uh, frontier, like a half a mile, and they should build two walls between each other, and those walls should be manned by the UN soldiers. You know what I mean? That is my proposal. Just call ceasefire and just open a parallel and do a how to say, a frontier or two walls and half a mile between each other and just stop the war. You know what I mean? And the UN should man those uh those borders. You know what I mean? So and call it it.
and
That's it.
and for
Call it.
and and I'm pulling this up real quick because to keep this in perspective. Okay, so here's Israel, right? This is Israel. All this is Israel. And this is the Gaza Strip. So this little territory is for Palestinians, right? So what I'm saying, okay, fine. What Julio is talking about is maybe dividing this evenly, right? Or somewhere around this line. and give this to the Palestinians. The UN can do that. And in fact, the UN should be, when I said send American troops here to protect the Palestinians, to keep Israel away, and to keep Hamas, Hamas organization is supposed to be built from here, but they are right now, the leader of Hamas is over here in Iran. Let me get my bearings. Over here. He's over here, somewhere in Iran. So again, that is a big stretch. So, the Israel's trying to say that they infiltrated here and went to uh where did they go? I want to say somewhere in this area, and October 7th, right? I think
Hmm.
so. And so there's a people, which I think Nestor is the one that brought this up, hence why I wanted to bring this map up, that they wanted to do something like a Panama Canal. There is a conspiracy that Israel's doing that, hence why supposedly they did their own attack on themselves. That's a conspiracy. But I don't really see that, because they would have to, I mean, they don't gain anything from here. It makes sense to do it here, right? Which they already do have that port. So I don't see it. Um, I guess maybe from here to there, but Beersheba, for most people, they should know what this town is, like a very, very important town for the true people of Israel, because Beersheba was the name of the one of the wives of David, King David, who you know basically killed Beersheba's husband so he can marry her, and that's where his son Solomon came from. But so yeah, I doubt they'll do anything to that. And Hebron, the same thing. There's historical reasons for that. But again, so I don't know if that would be true, but there is something fishy. And that's why when I heard Trump saying making this into like a little paradise, kind of like, what's that place, Dubai? That I think that's more of what Israel wants to do, so that way tourism, money, you know. So that is messed up. It is true. But I
Yeah.
I I think, honestly, I don't know. What do you think?
They need to stop the war first off. And I'm getting tired. I mean, it's almost been 2 years. In October 7, in 3 weeks, it's going to be 2 years since the war started. And I think it should be enough. Enough of the killing, enough of destroying people, enough of fighting. Just like Donald Trump said, release the hostages and get it over with. You know what I mean? Just get it over with. Everybody going, to their side, and and to be honest, Israel needs to just stop the crying and stop their victimization of like, oh, it was the Palestinian or Hamas. They need to stop because sometimes they provoke too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So sometimes they provoke, and it's Hamas and Palestinian need to do the same thing. So they both need to stop, keep it to themselves, and Israel need to stop being in the business of Israel, of Palestine, and just be Palestine. Let them grow and let them do their business because Israel want to do. They want a piece of land from what I'm seeing. You know what I mean? They just want to destroy everything. So, in my opinion, in my honest and humble opinion, the war needs to stop just for the sake of the people.
And and
That's my.
honestly, and I'm gonna share the screen again. Sorry, Julio.
Are you good?
Honestly, what I would suggest, and this is, I hope, this speech already went, but if I was Donald Trump, I would say, you know what, UN, let's use the resources, let's protect Israel and Palestine, and guard this border. The UN guard this border. Let the Palestinians, and then just set up a like a like a military base there to protect Gaza from anybody else and call it Palestine. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and if Israel is really like, remember, if in order for if UN would do that, and then say, hey, Israel, for years you said, before the Abraham Accords, you said you were willing to give up some of your territory just for the sake of peace. So put their money in their mouth and say, well, give them a little more territory. Maybe I understand you don't want to give Beersheba, but maybe give it from, I don't know, what is this, of Keem, all the way to whatever that town is.
I
I
I don't know, man. There is a lot of people in there that would now they're not willing to leave, and
Well, they don't have to leave, you know.
I know, but they don't want to live they don't want to live under Palestinian control. You know what I mean? Because there will be it is bad. It
Well,
is bad. They
I
need,
guess I guess it would be under control of the UN until they have a real election. And the UN is there to make sure no other country influences neither
Mhm.
Israel, neither, Iraq or whatever, and whoever bombs the UN. But then again, I guess you're giving too much power to UN, right? Mean, but I mean, it was then what? Why do we have a UN for? Like, what
That's
are
what I'm
their
saying.
need?
Like,
Yeah.
what would they have? What we having for? I mean, because for everything they use the United States for everything. If it some happen, oh, let's call the United States so they can give us the manpower because we don't have X, Y, or Z, or let's call the U.S. so they can give us money or weapons or advisors. Like, come on, man, you and everybody pitch in, put their soldiers
Yeah.
in, and just come on, man, just
Exactly. Look, this would be like a joint operation. You would
yeah,
have America here, you have Germany here, you have Poland here, and you have all these countries stations like a little consulate to protect the border from everybody. Because Israel's excuse is, well, I'm watching over what they get on their port because they're bombing me, right? So then again, you'll have the UN doing that, and then these people are so angry at Israel, so that's why you don't want Israel to do that. And like you just said, we fund UN. What do they do? Nothing other than
no,
just like what Donald Trump said. Just talk is cheap. This is action. And I'm telling you, if they were to do this, this would calm everything down. Iraq is not going to send Hamas over here no more, because guess what? The boys are back in town. So guess what? They're
yeah,
not they're not going to do anything. My
yeah,
only issue with this is that
you solving.
we're giving them power. But
But yeah, but you solving two issues. You solving them stuff fighting, and you solving the influx of terrorists because they have to go through your border.
yep. And I just think that that would be a solution. And like Nestor was saying, it's all desolated and destroyed because of the
Mhm.
bombs. Well, guess what? The UN, and I'm sure once this would happen, I'm sure everybody would pitch in to help out and help these Palestinians to move back into their home, in a fresh, brand new home. Yes, nothing can. There's nothing we can do to bring their loved ones back, and I just honestly think that because Israel bombed, they should be paying for the reconstruction. But again, that would be
They will
me.
not pay for that, man. You know they would
They
probably
they they apparently they
they rather
apparently
to
have
pay
enough
for the
money.
land.
Yeah, but they have apparently enough money to pay in for our worry about our elections. You know what I mean?
How much money do we give our Israel every month? Like $30 million a month. We send them
Yeah. Yeah, I
30
know.
to 40 millions for nothing. What they do?
That's the money laundering that we're talking about.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, play that.
All right, here we go.
Thank you. As we have got to come together, and we will come together, got to get it done. We have to stop the war in Gaza immediately. We have to stop it. We have to get it done. We have to negotiate immediately. Have to negotiate peace. We got to get the hostages back. We want all 20 back. We don't want 2 and 4. As you know, I got, along with Steve Witkoff and others that helped us, Marco Rubio, we got most of them back. We were involved in all of them. But I always said the last 20 are going to be the hardest, and that's exactly what happened. We have to get them back now. We don't want to get back 2, and then another 2, and then 1, and then 3. Have this process. No, we want them all back, and we want the actually 38 dead bodies back too. Those parents came to me, and they want them back, and they want them back very quickly and very badly, as though they were alive. They want them. They want them every bit as much as if their son or daughter were alive. I've also been working relentlessly, stopping the killing in Ukraine. I thought that would be, of the 7 wars that I stopped, I thought that would be the easiest because of my relationship with President Putin, which had always been a good one. I thought that was going to be the easiest one. But you know, in war, you never know what's going to happen. There are always lots of surprises, both good and bad. Everyone thought Russia would win this war in 3 days, but it didn't work out that way. It was supposed to be just a quick little skirmish. It's not making Russia look good. It's making them look bad. No matter what happens from here on out, this was something that should have taken a matter of days, certainly less than a week. And they've been fighting for 3.5 years and killing anywhere from 5 to 7,000 young soldiers, mostly soldiers,
Zelensky.
on both sides, every single week, from 5 to
You see
7,000
Zelensky?
dead young people, and some in cities much.
What happened?
Zelensky was there at the UN.
Really?
Go
It
back
did.
5 seconds,
Let's see.
right there.
Where
Play
is
it.
he at?
Hit
Where
play.
is that
Hit play.
weasel?
And they've been fighting for.
There
Okay.
he is. That weasel right there.
Why he is there when he's not a member of the UN?
Bro. This is why Russia gets pissed.
Like, why he's doing there? Like,
Wait. It says Trump afirma que Rusia es un tigre de papel y dice que cree que Ucrania con la ayuda del EU puede romper todo su territorio. Una vez más, Trump juega al desprecio. Yo mismo dice cosas contradicciones. Okay. So basically, is he on the unaffirmative, right? He's basically saying that Trump is calling basically Putin like a paper mache tiger. But good question about is he part of the
Zelensky.
UN? I don't think he's I think he's not part of NATO. But I
No,
think
he's not part of NATO. But I
no,
don't know why.
I mean I'm saying he's not part of NATO, but I think he is part of the UN. Let me see. Is you well let me play the video while I do this.
Yeah, go ahead.
3.5 years and killing anywhere from 5 to 7,000 young soldiers, mostly soldiers, on both sides, every single week, from 5 to 7,000 dead young people, and some in cities, much smaller numbers, where rockets are shot, where drones are dropped. This war would never have started if I were president. This was a war that should have never happened. It shows you what leadership is, what bad leadership can do to a country. Look what happened to the United States, and look where we are right now in just a short period of.
Okay, so real quick, yes, Ukraine is a member of the United Nations and was one of its founding members in 1945. So he is part of the UN. He's not part of NATO.
Okay, so Russia is there too, most
Yeah,
likely.
Russia is there, most likely there too. Let me
All right.
see. Uh, Russia. Uh, yes, Russia is a member of the United Nations. I wonder if is China in there too.
Yeah, I think they all are they
I
all are
I don't
part.
think North Korea is though.
And I don't think North Korea is part of the NATO.
I don't. Whoa, wait. North Korea is part of the United Nations.
Oh, United Nations. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I think they all the United Nations, all nations are in there. All
Yeah.
nations.
Here we go.
Time. The only question now is how many more lives will be needlessly lost on both sides. China and India are the primary funders of the ongoing war by continuing to purchase Russian oil. But inexcusably, even NATO countries have not cut off much Russian energy and Russian energy products, which, as you know, I found out about 2 weeks
Look
ago,
at
and I
them
wasn't happy.
Chinese.
Think of it. They're funding the war against themselves. Who the hell ever heard of that one? In the event that Russia is not ready to make a deal to end the war, then the United States is fully prepared to impose a very strong round of powerful tariffs, which would stop the bloodshed, I believe, very quickly. But for those tariffs to be effective, European nations, all of you are gathered here right now, would have to join us in adopting the exact same measures. I mean, you're much closer to this. We have an ocean in between. You're right there. And Europe has to step it up. They can't be doing what they're doing. They're buying oil and gas from Russia while they're fighting Russia. It's embarrassing to them, and it was very embarrassing to them when I found out about it, I can tell you that. They have to immediately cease all energy purchases from Russia. Otherwise, we're all wasting a lot of time. So I'm ready to discuss this. We're going to discuss it today with the European nations, all gathered here. I'm sure they're thrilled to hear me speak about it, but that's the way it is. I like to speak my mind and speak the truth. As we seek to reduce the threat
Oh man, look
of
at
dangerous
that.
weapons today, I'm also calling on every nation to join us in ending the development of biological weapons once and for all. And biological is terrible, and nuclear is even beyond, and we include nuclear in that. We want to have a cessation of the development of nuclear weapons. We know, and I get to view it all the time. Sir, would you like to see? And I look at weapons that are so powerful that we just can't ever use them. If we ever use them, the world literally might come to an end. There would be no United Nations to be talking about. There would be no nothing. Just a few years ago, reckless experiments overseas gave us a devastating global pandemic. Yet despite that worldwide catastrophe, many countries are continuing extremely risky
Wait, did he
research
just-
into bioweapons and
Did he just accuse China of a bioweapon with COVID-19? Did he just
Yeah.
do that?
He just implied it. Yeah, he just implied.
Oh my gosh, dude! Trump is like,
Basically, he implied the COVID-19 and the continuation of the war in Ukraine. So
bro, Nestor. Yeah. Trump went all out today.
yeah, he
I
went all
mean,
out.
he basically, for those, he's just being polite, but he is basically like, he's basically telling them, bro, you guys, it was an attack, man, dude. Oh, I, that's crazy. I'm gonna continue. Here we go.
man-made pathogens. This is unbelievably dangerous. To prevent potential disasters, I'm announcing today that my administration will lead an international effort to enforce biological weapons convention, which is going to be meeting with the top leaders of the world by pioneering an AI verification system that everyone can trust. Hopefully, the UN can play a constructive role, and it will also be one of the early projects under AI. Let's see how good it is, because a lot of people are saying it could be one of the great things ever, but it also can be dangerous, but it could be put to tremendous use and tremendous good, and this would be an example of that. Not only is the UN not solving the problems it should, too often, it's actually creating new problems for us to solve. The best example is the number one political issue of our time, the crisis of uncontrolled migration. It's uncontrolled. Your countries are being ruined. The United Nations is funding an assault on Western countries and their borders. In 2024, the UN budgeted $372 million in cash assistance to support an estimated 624,000 migrants journeying into the United States. Think of that. The UN is supporting people that are illegally coming into the United States, and then we have to get them out. The UN also provided food, shelter, transportation, and debit cards to illegal aliens. Can you believe that? On the way to infiltrate our southern border. Millions of people came through that southern border. Just a year ago, millions and millions of people were pouring in, 25 million altogether over the 4 years of the incompetent Biden administration. And now we have it stopped, totally stopped. In fact, they're not even coming anymore because they know they can't get through. But what took place is totally unacceptable. The UN is supposed to stop invasions, not create them and not finance them. In the United States, we reject the idea that mass numbers of people from foreign lands can be permitted to travel halfway around the world, trample our borders, violate our sovereignty, cause unmitigated crime, and deplete our social safety net. We have reasserted that America belongs to the American people, and I encourage all countries to take their own stand in defense of their citizens as well. You have to do that because I see it. I'm not mentioning names. I see it, and I can call every single one of them out. You're destroying your countries. They're being destroyed. Europe is in serious trouble. They've been invaded by a force of illegal aliens like nobody's ever seen before. Illegal aliens are pouring into Europe. Nobody is ever, and nobody's doing anything to change it, to get them out. It's not sustainable. And because they choose to be politically correct, they're doing just absolutely nothing about it. And I have to say, I look at London where you have a terrible mayor, terrible mayor, and it's been so changed, so changed. Now they want to go to Sharia law, but you're in a different country. You can't do that. Both the immigration and their suicidal energy ideas will be the death of Western Europe if something is not done immediately. This cannot be sustained. What makes the world so beautiful is that each country is unique. But to stay this way, every sovereign nation must have the right to control their own borders. You have the right to control your borders, as we do now, and to limit the sheer numbers of migrants entering their countries and paid for by the people of that nation that were there and that built that particular nation at the time. They put their blood, sweat, tears, money into that country, and now they're being ruined. Proud nations must be allowed to protect their communities and prevent their societies from being overwhelmed by people they have never seen before with different customs, religions, with different everything. Where migrants have violated laws, lodged false asylum claims, or claimed refugee status for illegitimate reasons, they should, in many cases, be immediately sent home. And while we will always have a big heart for places and people that are struggling and truly compassionate, answers will be given. We have to solve the problem, and we have to solve it in their countries, not create new problems in our countries. And we are very helpful to a lot of countries that are just not able to send their people anymore. They used to send them to us in caravans of 25, 30,000 people each. These massive caravans of people pouring into our country, totally unchecked and unvetted. But not anymore. According to the Council of Europe in 2024, almost 50% of inmates in German prisons were foreign nationals or migrants. In Austria, the number was 53% of the people in prisons were from places that weren't from where they are now. In Greece, the number was 54%, and in Switzerland, beautiful Switzerland, 72% of the people in prisons are from outside of Switzerland. When your prisons are filled with so-called asylum seekers who repaid kindness, and that's what they did. They repaid kindness with crime. It's time to end the failed experiment of open borders. You have to end it now. See, I can tell you. I'm really good at this stuff. Your countries are going to hell. In America, we've taken bold action to swiftly shut down uncontrolled.
He said, "Your countries are going to hell,
Man, Donald
bro."
Trump is a threat, man. We're gonna stop it right here for today, because he's going. I mean, we let me. Robert gonna put the whole video on the actual chat so you can follow it later if you wanted to. We still got half an hour left
I
of
know.
the video, but we like to appreciate everyone being here. We're gonna see you guys again tomorrow at the same time, around between 6:15, 6:30 every afternoon or every evening, rather to say. Uh, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also share this channel. If you have not already yet, visit our website. Let me bring it up so you guys can see it. Go. Let me show it right here real quick. There we go. Let me see if you guys see it. There we go. Here, yeah. Here's our website. You can follow us there too. There we go. All right. So this is our website. You can go here. You can buy some merch. We got some shirts. If you go here to the shop section, we got some shirts. You can get in there. Also, we got episodes. You can cash out to the latest episode, or you can follow us right here in every link.
Contact us
So
if you want to reach out to us, or if you have any ideas that you want us to talk about or investigate or think about,
Yep.
we'll reach out to you as fast as we can get to you. But just let us know.
Yeah, just let us know. So that's all for today. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for those in the chat. Thank you for joining the group. Pretty good conversation we had in the chat. So now we are going home. We are going to take a rest and see you guys tomorrow afternoon. See you later. Take care,